Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Michael's Corner. Tonight I will be interviewing Jaxon King. Um, you guys probably seen him at an MAW show and whatnot. So, before I bring in my guests, there's a few things I want to bring up so you guys can understand what I'm coming from. All right? So here he is. When I do these interviews, whether at a wrestling show or virtually, sometimes like if I'm like at a wrestling show, I am in Michael mode. Okay? I'm usually in Michael mode because you know how wrestling shows go. It could get chaotic, it could be exciting, and I'm in Michael mode. But when I'm doing these virtual interviews at home, in my privacy of my own home, I like to be just me, Michael Pound. And I like to, conduct the interviews the way I want to conduct interviews. Okay? So, when I'm at wrestling shows, when I do the interviews, I'm in Michael mode. When I'm doing interviews virtually in the privacy of my own home, I like to be myself. And that's saying something. So I hope that everyone understands what I'm coming from. All right? And knows the drill. Okay? So, let's not waste any more time. I am going to bring in my guests. So, there you go. Hello,
What's going on, dude?
how's it going?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I am doing wonderful, sir. Um, here on Michael's Corner, I will ask you all the hard-hitting questions, and let's let's go.
Let's do it.
So the first thing I want to ask you is, how did you get your start in wrestling?
So, I got started through my best friend that I grew up with. His stepsister happens to be Queen Bee, Brooke Valentine. And so that's how I met her, and she referred me to the same place where she got trained. And once I was old enough and had the money, I kind of just said, screw it, let's go for it and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, how many years have you been wrestling?
February will mark 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have been. So where are you from? So people can know.
I'm from Des Moines, Iowa.
Okay.
Yeah. Born and raised in Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah. So you recently went to Midwest All Star Wrestling not too long ago.
Yeah. Back in September, I had my debut at MAW at the Fat Pants Brewery. I
Hmm.
wrestled ZK-47. And
Okay.
I was able to get some feedback from Mr. Kennedy afterwards, which was an honor. I've watched him growing up as a kid, so that was a super cool experience.
So so you wrestle all around Iowa.
Yep.
Do you wrestle for Impact Pro Wrestling?
Yep, that's where I trained at. Yep. That's where I do
Okay.
most of my stuff
Can
at.
you,
Yeah.
yeah, can you tell us more about that? You know, how you got your upstart in your wrestling career?
Yeah, so I started, so when I met Brooke Valentine, that same weekend, they had a show in Des Moines. And so we went, and when, she was nice enough to introduce me to the trainer and stuff and the promoter and, James Jeffries and Troy Peterson, they're amazing. And, as a couple years went by, I kept going to the shows just because they were fun to go to, and the place was 10 minutes from my house. And eventually, as I got older, I kind of kept more in touch with James and Troy and them, and eventually at a show during intermission, James came up to me and he told me, you still thinking about training? I'd really love to have you as a student. I if you have James Jeffries come up to you and he wants to teach you how to wrestle, you can't turn that down, man.
No,
It's
you
just
can't.
it's just like no. As soon as that happened, it's just like I'm training. Yep.
Yep, and you know what? In fact, I did interview James Jeffries.
Yep.
I think earlier this year or last year.
Oh
Yep,
yeah. Yep.
he's
That's
one
who
of
taught
my
me how to wrestle.
yep, he's one of my good friends. He's a really nice guy, and you should listen to him, because he's a great guy. He's a great human being.
Absolutely.
Yep, yep, and whatnot. So, and also, you know this wrestler by the name of Tyler Jones.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've wrestled Tyler a handful of times. That dude is very talented.
Yeah, because I interviewed him a couple of times, and he's one of my, he's also one of my good friends and whatnot. And like I said, at first when I pre pre pandemic, before the COVID hit and whatnot, I used to not to like him. I just gave him shit because he was new. I didn't know who he was. So I just gave him crap until he started teaming up with Austin. No, yeah, Austin Files.
Austin, Austin
Flex,
Fouts, yeah.
yeah, Flex Appeal.
Flex appeal.
So,
Yep.
hmm when they teamed up, that's when I started to like him. So yeah, Tyler is Tyler Jones is, a cool dude.
Oh yeah, very.
I gotta have him back on to my show again.
Absolutely.
I gotta have him back on my show. hmm So, so besides that, are you still training, get your training on? Because I saw,
Um, so the training that I've been doing mostly lately is actually mixed martial arts training. Um, so basically every day after work, I go straight to the MMA gym and I either do jiu-jitsu or I'll do kickboxing. And that's basically just to keep me going and,
because,
good cardio. And
yeah,
then usually on the weekends is when I go wrestle.
yeah, because I was about to say, I watched a couple of your video clips before we went live, and I was like, oh my God, you're getting good, for
Thank you, man.
for for a kid that's been in the wrestling business about 3 years. So
Thank you,
yeah,
man. I appreciate it.
yeah, you getting your training on and whatnot, and also too, I don't know, is your first interview that you ever done, or am I your first?
I believe this is my second one.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, because yeah, like part of being in the territory is You got to do interviews. You got to do promos.
Yep.
You got to do everything, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because you want to get your name out there. You know, you
You gotta do
gotta,
what you gotta do.
you gotta do what you gotta do, and that means doing interviews with me
Right.
and doing all this. You gotta be seen.
Yep.
Okay, if you're out, if you're not seen, if you're like taking a couple months off or whatnot, you can easily be forgotten. And I learned this because I've been in the biz for about shit July 19th of 2013
Oh,
is
right
how
on.
I got my start. Now,
Nice.
not as a wrestler though. I'm not qualified as a wrestler, but I did some things in the business, you know,
Yeah.
business wise. You know, I worked for a good friend of mine named Kurt Otterholt in Minnesota Extreme Wrestling. I was his assistant. So I was recording some of the wrestling action for him. And I was doing that for 4 years until his untimely passing about 7 years ago.
Oh man.
He passed. About 7 years. Yeah. 7 years. Um yeah, I miss Kurt so much, you know. He took me under his wing, you know.
Absolutely.
He tells me the pros and the cons about getting into the wrestling business, you know.
Yeah.
And the
So
first thing he told me is keep your mouth shut, listen to what these wrestlers have to say, you know.
yep.
Hmm.
It's
That's what he told.
always good to have those mentors in the wrestling biz, without a
Hmm.
doubt.
Yeah, that's right. Because and show respect to to the wrestlers and talent who has been in the business a whole lot longer than you.
Yep.
That's what you got to do. And
Yep.
and he just took me under his wing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, he always say it doesn't matter how busy he was. You know, he always made time for me, and and that I miss so much. But I continue to go on wrestling shows because this is what I love to do. I love to see wrestlers like you perform.
Absolutely.
And and so I'm glad thank you for doing this, agreeing to doing this
Absolutely.
tonight. So
Oh, it's
that
a
you
pleasure.
can see who I am and because I know you seen me at MAW. So
Yep.
but I never asked if I want to interview you. So now we're doing this virtually and whatnot. So
Absolutely.
and as I tell everyone, I you know follow me on social media and whatnot because you never know who I'm going to bring up. You know
Right.
what?
Absolutely.
So so with that being said, um, when you're not wrestling, what does Jaxon King likes to do? What
Um,
does the lone diamond likes to do on his personal time?
go to the gym and lift. That's something that I prioritize very big is to keep my body in shape and to just so you know my daily deal is wake up, go to work at the I work at Rising Star Wholesale. Basically, we just do warehouse, basically just your basic warehouse job, forklifts, moving stuff around, stuff like that. And So that's my Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and then right after that is when I go to the MMA gym, and then followed by that I go lift, and then I'm finally home, and it's usually just eat dinner and relax until I fall asleep.
That's right. Like Hulk Hogan used to say, you gotta eat your vitamins and say your prayers. Oh, eat it. There we go. I'm sorry. Let me repeat that again. Like Hulk Hogan used to say, you gotta take your vitamins and say your prayers.
The Hulkster.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's good. Yeah, and what I like to do when I'm not when I'm not at wrestling shows, I like to do virtual interviews.
Yep.
I like to play video games. You guys know that my personal schedule. When I'm not at wrestling shows, I like to play video games, and I like to sit back, take care of my father, who is 71 years old. He,
Nice.
I take care of him, pay bills, and do all that. It's not easy being an adult. You know.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, I do all those things. I'm usually on social media posting upcoming episodes of Michael's Corner, as you saw in my stories on Instagram. I was letting people know that I'm going to talk to you for an hour,
Absolutely.
get a good hour in and get to know me better.
No
So,
doubt.
hmm so do you like video games, or you just like, nah, that's
Oh
not
no,
your
I
thing?
love video games. I've been playing video games my whole life. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, what is your favorite game that you like to play? It could be
My
on
all
console or mobile device.
my all-time favorite video game is MLB The Show.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I could tell you my favorite video game. If I have a lot of video games. If I have to choose one though, it would be WWE SmackDown. Here comes the pain.
Oh yeah, yep, I've played that one before. That's a good game.
That's a good game. I played that nonstop when I was, younger and whatnot.
Hmm.
Oh my God. I just played that game nonstop.
SmackDown versus Raw 2007 is probably my favorite WWE game. I had the season mode on that one is I just love it.
Yeah,
Me and
and that too. I like SmackDown versus Raw. I
oh
got all
yeah.
the video games. And now, oh, and speaking of wrestling games, now AEW is coming out with a video game, their very first video game. And guess what? I'm gonna get it.
Oh, I will too. I'll definitely get it and give it a
I
test
will
run.
definitely get it
Without a doubt.
because
I'll definitely purchase it and see it and give it a look.
yeah, with me liking wrestling games, it's not just WWE. I
Yeah.
like, I got WCW, I got ECW Hardcore Revolution. I, you name it, I got it. And I also have Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat games. I got that too. It's been a while since I played it, but I like Mortal Kombat, and that it's been a while. I'm a little bit rusty. I haven't played it in a while. I should get back to that, by the way. But nah, I'll get to it because I'm on vacation right now. I took 12 days off from
There you
work.
go.
So now, and plus everyone, my birthday is coming up on the
Oh,
14th of August.
hell
I'm
yeah.
gonna be hell yeah, and I'm gonna be 38. It's hard to believe that I'm gonna be 38 this year, but I don't look 38 though.
No,
I do
no,
not look like 38.
no, sir,
So
you do not.
my question to you is this, Jackson. How young do you think I look?
I mean, when I first met you, I thought you were maybe like 25, 26, maybe.
Oh, thank you very much for saying that. Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment because because I get compliments from strangers and while I'm at work, I work for those who don't know, I work at a grocery store. Every time I serve customers, people always tell me, Michael, you look 18 and you look 21. And I was like, oh my God, I will take that as a compliment. Thank you for saying that. Yes, I do look like I'm 25, you know,
Yeah.
but yeah. So I get that all the time,
Mm-hmm.
All you got, if you want to look young or feel young, all you got to do is shave your mustache, shave your beard, wash your face, wash your face twice a day, once in the morning, once before you go to bed. Watch what you eat, say your prayers, and get plenty of rest. If you can do all of that, you'll stay you'll stay young. You'll
Absolutely.
stay and look young. And that's what I tell people, you
For
know.
sure. For sure.
Yep. So yeah. So now the next time you see me at a wrestling show, ooh, I don't know. I don't know what character you might be in, but oh, if you're a bad guy, you'll hear it from me first. I'll just give you a. I'm in Michael mode. When I'm in Michael mode, I usually give like all the heel wrestlers except for the system. The
Yeah.
system. I give all the heel wrestlers a hard time, except for the system. I like him. He's that's he's my good friend. And
Yeah.
if you see me shouting out for the system, oh, you'll hear it from me. Oh my God, that Michael must be in Michael mode. So, but when I'm at home, I'm just pretty, you know, I'm not in Michael mode. I'm in like myself, you
Yeah.
know. And to be
Mm-hmm.
myself when I do these interviews and whatnot. Um, yeah, it's just that I love interviewing wrestlers like you. I have a long list of wrestlers who I interviewed since May of 2013 all the way till now. I
That's
made a
awesome.
list, and all those wrestlers who I interviewed, oh my God, it's a huge list, you know. So I'm gonna add you onto that list. I said, yep,
I,
I interviewed
heck yeah.
Jackson King and whatnot. So now, with that being said, now I'm gonna turn the tables. Do you
Okay.
have any questions to ask me?
Who is the biggest name you've gotten to interview on your channel?
That's a good question. The biggest name I interviewed, is the Honky Tonk Man.
Oh, that's awesome.
Go on my YouTube channel, Michael's Wrestling Channel. I have a playlist. So go under Michael's Corners interviews. Scroll all the way. You might have to scroll all the way down. You'll see the Honky Tonk. I interviewed the Honky Tonk Man.
That's badass, man. That's cool.
Yeah, and another big name I interviewed. I don't know if you've heard of. I don't know if you heard of Jimmy Jacobs.
Yep.
That's the one who I interviewed.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he used to. I think he used to work for Impact Wrestling as a producer, I believe. So and whatnot. So that's another big name I can think of. And that's all that I can think of, you know?
Nice.
So, yeah. Yeah. And I'll be doing more interviews like that. I'll be going to that MAW show this Sunday.
Oh, nice.
And JPG he's gonna be at the show. Former WWE superstar.
That's awesome.
Can you imagine if I interviewed him?
That'd be amazing.
That would be amazing. You never know what's gonna happen.
Absolutely.
I could just interview him because Michael's Corner is gonna get bigger. It's gonna get big. It's gonna get big. You just wait to see, you know, and whatnot. So, what else I have to tell you? Well, oh my God, I think that's about all the questions I want to ask. We got to know who you are and you know what you're doing and whatnot. I gave you some advice on how to be seen and whatnot.
Absolutely.
I gave you some advice of that. So yeah, and so the best thing I can tell you from this point is, just keep on doing what you're doing, and you gotta take promo photos. Make, as you can see right here, I got 8x10 photos. Start doing, taking promo photos.
Yep.
And so that wrestling fans can,
Sell some
buy
8x10s.
your 8x10 so that they can be happy and enjoy themselves. Be yourself, because, like in the wrestling business, you got to deal with a lot of constructive criticism.
Yep.
You got to be able to take that.
Absolutely. Yep. The way I've always looked at that is, if someone's telling you, like, if someone that's been doing this for a long time watches your match and gives you feedback, if they're telling you that there's something that they did not like or they think that there's something that looked shitty, they're not telling you that to be an asshole. They're trying to help, and I know that, and I'm used to that just from playing sports my whole life up until then, because I always had a coach. We always had a coach screaming if we were sucking. So and I know that's never been them to do it to be mean. That's just them to get us better. And a lot of times, constructive criticism and tough love's the best way to do it.
That's right. And you know what? A good thing about that is it'll help you grow as a wrestler.
Yep.
You
Yep.
grow as a human being, not
Builds a
just
lot of
as a
character.
wrestler.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And may I ask how old are you? I'm assuming you're 20.
You got it.
Mm-hmm.
20 years old.
Yeah, yeah. And I like interviewing some of the wrestlers who I don't know because here's the thing. Now I get to know that wrestler really well, you
Yep.
know? Hmm. And I've been doing this a long time. If you go on my YouTube channel and you go on to, all the interviews that I did, you know, you'll be amazed how many people I interviewed and whatnot. And it's like, oh, Michael's got a passion for this. And not only that, Jackson, I like filming the wrestling action on
Oh,
my YouTube channel and posting on
nice.
the YouTube channel.
Nice,
I
nice.
think the best match that I ever filmed, hands down, Nikki Heat versus Julia Hart.
Nice.
Watch that. Watch that match. I got so many hits on that. And I got comments. I got so many likes, so many views off of that. I think I'm up to 3.4K. I'm not for sure. I have to relook at that,
Nice.
but oh my God.
That's awesome,
Go and
man.
see that match and you'll
Definitely.
be amazed, you know? So, okay, well, I guess I guess we I guess we should wrap this up. I asked all my questions. You asked some of your questions that you have for me. Now, on every episode, on towards the end of each episode, I
Yeah.
always ask the wrestlers, where can wrestling fans find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram at _JaxonKing, no caps or spaces. You can find me on Facebook at the Lone Diamond Jaxon King, and you can find me on Twitter at JaxonKing29.
Okay. All right. Well, Jackson, you are welcome. If you got any wrestling events coming up, you want to tell the wrestling fans now before we wrap this up?
Yeah, my next show coming up this weekend in Knoxville. It's Madhouse 2. Um, Lots of hardcore action and lots of great talent lined up. So if you got nothing going on, come to this show, full bar, crack some cold ones, and let's go crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jackson, you have a great evening, and you're welcome to be on Michael's Corner anytime. Just shoot me a message, and we'll make this happen again.
Awesome, man. Hey, I appreciate you having me on. It was nice talking to you again.
Yeah, it was nice talking to you too.
Yep, you have a good
All right.
night.
Yep, you too.
Take care.
Yep. Okay, that will wrap it up for this episode of Michael's Corner. You can follow me on social media, Facebook at Michael's Corner, Twitter at Michael Pam, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Michael's Wrestling Channel. And I post all my content from there. Um, so you guys have a great evening, and I will see you guys in the next episode of Michael's Corner.